Come gather close, come feel the flame. Lesley George, remember the name. Island soul with a fearless spark. Truth speaks here and it leaves its mark. No dimming down, no playing small. Stepping strong and stand up tall. You walking bold, you move with grace. Mosaic Sparks, come take your place. This is where brilliance learns to speak.
A gift does not become small because the room does not know how to name it. You can spend years carrying brilliance in plain sight, not being hidden in a cave, not locked in a vault, or not buried under some deep mystery. Right there, in the way you notice things, explain things, the way you organize chaos, the way you read a room, calm a storm, even tell the truth, connect the dots, and help people find language for what they feel. Still, because no one handed you a title, a spotlight, a certificate, even a microphone, or made a grand announcement, you start questioning the very thing that has been working through you all along. And that's where we're going today. So, welcome back, Sparklers, to Mosaic Sparks with me, Lesley George, the podcast where familiar stories become mirrors for real life confidence, leadership, voice, visibility, and personal growth. So, around here, we take what looks like entertainment and pull out the grown woman lesson hiding in the scene. Today's episode is called The Gift Nobody Clapped For, and Stop Waiting for the Magical Door to Open. And we are using Encanto as our movie mirror. Encanto gives us a color, music, family legacy, generational pressure, unspoken pain, and a house full of people trying to hold everything together while the walls are cracking. That is a movie, but that also is a family meeting. It's also a workplace. Ooh, let's not talk about a ministry team. And it's also business. It also happens in a group chat with too many people pretending that they are fine. So before we step into the story, I want to give a special shout out to our newest listen areas. To everyone listening in Japan. We've had some recent downloads last week from Japan. Japan, welcome to Mosaic Sparks. To Germany, thank you for joining the conversation. For our listeners in Puerto Rico, your presence means so much. And to our top cities in the United States, we have West Palm Beach, Florida, Port St. Lucie, Florida, and Ashburn, Virginia. So the message is traveling. Mosaic Sparks is crossing cities, countries, and time zone. And that tells me something powerful. Women in different places are asking some of the same honest questions. What am I carrying that I keep minimizing? Did you ask yourself that? Where does my voice belong? I know I asked myself that. Why do I keep making my brilliance private? Ooh, that's one for me too. What would change if I gave my gift structure, language, and movement? Well, all those questions are the heart of this episode. So I want you to get comfortable, take some pressure off your shoulders, grab something to drink if you're able. Hopefully you're not driving. So if you're driving, but if you might have something in your cup holder that you may want to sip on. So whatever it is, we're glad that you're here and you've joined us today. So let's talk about Encanto, Maribel, and the brilliance that have been in the room all the time. So in Encanto, the family is known for magical gifts. There is extraordinary strength. They heal through food, emotions that shift the weather, beauty that fills space with flowers, the ability to hear what others miss, the power to shapeshift, the gift of seeing what is coming before anyone else is ready to face it. Every gift has a visible function. People can point to it. They can explain it and understand why it matters, right? But then comes Maribel. Her place feels a little bit complicated because her gift does not arrive with an obvious label. There's no glowing doors that open. There's no public description that tells the family how to understand her. No one can point to one visible power and say, there it is. That is what she does. Are you like that? I know I felt that way. In my family, I have some incredible, talented, gifted husband. I have a gifted husband and incredible children. My husband has been a photographer, for international photographer for over 40 years. I have a daughter that's a international content creator that gets flown out to international weddings and does amazing things with videos. Another daughter that when she was in college did a lot of photography that for organizations and sororities and fraternities, and a son that went to school for graphic design. So I just named you a bunch of talented people. And so all along while the kids were growing up, I didn't see that I couldn't pick up a camera and take a great picture. My videos were not extraordinary. Graphics was not extraordinary. But guess what? I knew what I loved and I had a passion. One of the things that I say all the time, I'm extremely visible. You tell me something and I see it. And that's been my gift. And so I had to learn how to now turn my gift that I see when you say something to me, I can see it. But now I need to turn that into something visually that I can point to it and say, aha, and then somebody else can. But that took time for me because I thought I could just automatically pick up a camera or I could automatically draw. Like my husband's not only a photographer, he does some amazing drawings. But my problem is that I was comparing myself to my family. And so I can definitely align with Maribel. And that can create some kind of tension, right? Her the family knows how to celebrate gifts that are immediately recognizable. Strength makes sense. Healing makes sense. Beauty makes sense. Performance makes sense. Usefulness makes sense. But Maribel carries a different kind of brilliance. Her gift is harder to package. She notices pressure before anyone names it. She pays attention to what others may ignore. Questions arise in her that the family would rather avoid. And there goes the cracks in the house that speaks to her before everyone else is ready to listen. Her presence exposes what the performance has been covering. Now, bring that mirror back to yourself. What if your gift has been harder to package? What if what you carry does not fit neatly into one word? And what if your brilliance have been working through your discernment, your timing, your wisdom, the way you care, the ability to listen, the ability to explain? And this is, for me, one of the biggest abilities, the ability to make people feel seen. Some brilliance does not enter the room with all kinds of fanfare, glitter, fireworks, and standing ovation. It enters through accuracy. It moves through compassion. It speaks through timing. It shows up through clarity, courage, emotional intelligence, and the ability to see what others keep stepping over. That may be where you live right now. You may bring calm to chaos and you just say it's normal. You solve problems quickly and label it, oh, that's just common sense. You help people make sense of their pain and act like it was only a conversation. You can read a room, shift the atmosphere, protect your relationships, and catch the details and explain the hard thing and still wonder whether you have anything special. Come a little closer. Listen a little closer. The word just has been stealing credit from women for a long time. Do any of these resonate with you? Oh, I just help people. Oh, I just notice things. I just know how to bring people together. I just have ideas. That one little word can place a discount sticker on a divine deposit. When you describe your gift casually long enough, you can convince yourself it carries no weight. And Cantu gives us a powerful mirror because Maribel's role does not arrive wrapped in language her family understands. Yet the family still needs her. The house still needs her. The family needs what she sees. That matters. A room can fail to name your gift and still need it. A system can overlook your insight and still benefit from it. A family can misunderstand your role and still be changed by your presence. A platform can be slow to recognize your voice and still become the place where your voice belongs. And this is where the conversation gets so real. Private brilliance become public impact when you give your gift language, structure, and movement. You may be carrying brilliance in private spaces. It may show up in your journal. You may be writing for years. I know there's women that have been carrying journals for 20 years, 5 years, 10 years. What about your voice notes on your phone? What are some of the things that you have in your voice notes? What about those late night conversations? What about those coaching moments that you may have with friends? Workplace problems that you're solving? And let's not get into that ministry service. Yet, you have quiet strategy. And the way you help others see themselves so clearly, maybe you speak life into everyone else and still struggle to speak with ownership about yourself. Or, or maybe a powerful idea has lived in your notes apps for years. Am I talking to you? Maybe a book has been sitting in your spirit, waiting for the outline, waiting for someone to come together to partner with you to get that book out. That was my story for 20 years. Kept on saying, oh, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to write a book. I'm going to write a book. Sounded like a parrot. Or maybe you have a workshop that's trapped inside of you. Maybe you've been taking these random screenshots of different things and you're saying that, you're going to do this workshop, or you've gone into Canva and you have the designs and the graphics and they're just drafts. And then you're having these someday, one day conversations that I'm going to do it. And maybe your message appears again and again in the advice you give to other people while you keep calling it nothing. That is not lack of brilliance. That is brilliance without a container. And that's what this episode speaks to. I'm speaking directly to you. If you know something is inside of you, yet you keep waiting for more confirmation, you keep praying. You want it to be more polished. You need more time. You think you have to be more confident. You're looking for additional permission or that perfect moment that guess what? It ain't gonna arrive. That perfect moment is never gonna arrive, right? And so Mosaic Sparks is a confidence podcast for women, personal growth podcast for women, and a space for women in leadership. If you're a speaker, a coach, a professional, purpose driven woman, where you're ready to stop shrinking. And this is where unbox your brilliance becomes more than a phrase. Unboxing means you're giving that message air. You're able to let that breathe. Your gift comes out of storage. Your story gets honored. The wisdom receives structure. Your voice becomes active instead of decorative. And your brilliance stops living like something you are allowed to hide forever. And that's also connected to the brag. The brag energy is ownership with responsibility. It's a decision to name what you carry, respect what you've learned, and move with intention. It gives you permission to speak about your value without turning it into a performance. Private brilliance says, something is in me. Public impact says, the gift deserves a place to serve. That is the shift. Now, Maribel teaches us that brilliance comes in so many different forms. Some gifts produce immediate evidence. Strength lifts the heavy things. Healing closes the wounds. Flowers fill the room with fragrances and beauty. A performance may bring on applause. Other gifts work below the surface. Discernment does not always make noise. Wisdom doesn't always need a stage. And strategy can look quiet until everything starts working together. Emotional intelligence can look ordinary until the room realizes that peace arrived because everyone knew how to listen. Storytelling can feel personal until another woman says, that helped me understand my own life. Your gift might not be loud, but it still may be powerful. You can sit through an entire conversation, speak one clear sentence, and change the direction of the room. You don't need a costume. You don't need no dramatic entrance. No need to announce it over a loudspeaker. And Maribel's gift lives in the way she notices what the family has been avoiding. While everyone keeps performing the miracle, she starts paying attention to the pressure underneath it. And that's not small. That's a big deal. When you notice the truth beneath the image, you carry a rare kind of leadership. In real life, this might look like sensing tension in a meeting before there's conflict. It can look like recognizing your family is avoiding a hard conversation. It can look like saying, tell me what is really going on. And suddenly the whole story comes out. In business, this gift might show up through strategy, messaging, structure, client care, audience understanding, or the ability to spot what is not working before the numbers confirm it. So, for the authors and speakers that maybe listen, this gift often appears as language, the right word at the right time, a sentence that helps people exhale, a story that turns confusion into clarity. This is why this topic matters so much for confidence and storytelling for women in leadership development and visibility as well. Because a message can live inside the gift that you keep calling ordinary. So here's your first spark question. What gift have I been treating as ordinary because it comes so naturally to me. Think about the patterns that you've experienced. What do people bring to your doorstep, whether it's emotionally, spiritually, professionally, or even creatively? Which problem seems to find you again and again? What do others think? What do others thank you for that you keep brushing off? Where do people gain clarity after spending time with you? Those answers are your clues. That's the familiar can still be very powerful. So in Encanto, the house begins to crack. Maribel sees it. The crack is not only a problem when the build with the building, it is a message from the system. Pressure has been building, expectation has been ignored, fear has been managed instead of healed, silence has been dressed up as unity. Everyone keeps trying to protect the miracle while the foundation is asking for attention. You may know what it feels like to live, work, serve, or lead in places where the image looks fine and the inside tells a whole nother story. The calendar may stay full. The events continue, the posts look polished, the meetings happen on schedule, the smiles appear on time, the results look impressive from the outside, but underneath all that activity, someone is tired. Someone is carrying too much. Someone is afraid to be honest. Someone knows the system is cracking, yet no one wants to disturb the image. But Maribel refuses to ignore what she sees. That also gives us another strong lesson. The issue that keeps pulling your attention may be connected to the message your voice is meant to carry. So pay attention to what keeps bothering you in a purposeful way. Women losing their voice in leadership spaces, professional women over explaining their value, authors sitting on unfinished manuscripts because fear keeps changing the deadline, Black women carrying strength while needing support. Let me repeat that for any of my Black women that are listening. Black women carrying strength while needing support. Girls growing up without language for confidence. Community celebrating gifts while ignoring the pressure on the person carrying them. Families avoiding truth until the silence becomes the strongest person in the room. My God. Those repeated concerns can become messages. A message can become a book, a workshop. A workshop can become a movement. A movement can become a place where other women finally feel seen, heard, and equipped. That is how private brilliance becomes public impact. Of course, noticing a crack does not assign every repair to your hands. Wisdom matters, definitely boundary matters. Rest matters. Every problem does not belong to you. That's not what we're saying. But still, patterns deserve attention. Questions worth asking are: why does this concern keep finding me? What conversation keeps returning to my life? Where does my experience meet someone else's need? And which truth keeps asking for language? For the women with a book, for the woman that has a book inside her, the crack may be the starting point. Many books begin with what they call a pain point, a crack in your identity, in leadership, in confidence, in family patterns, in your voice, and in how women understand their worth. When you give language to what you've seen, someone else receives a map. That is why your story matters. That is why Mosaic Sparks continues to speak about confidence, personal growth, women's empowerment, leadership, visibility, and voice. Insight gains power when it moves. Now let's talk about structure, because this is where many gifted women get stuck. Brilliance needs a container. A strong message without a container can create frustration. An important story without structure can sit untouched for years. A powerful message without a delivery method can remain trapped inside private conversations. You can carry experience, wisdom, creativity, strategy, and purpose, then feel scattered because there's no clear place for the brilliance to go. A container gives direction. Now, a book can hold the story. A podcast episode can carry the lesson. A keynote can deliver the message. A workshop can create transformation in a room. A coaching program can guide someone through a process. A social media series can make the message visible. A community can turn private growth into shared movement. But without a container, brilliance can become an emotional clutter. Voice notes pile up. Screenshots multiply. Half written outlines sit in folders with suspicious names like final idea and a new idea, and this one is for real. You can gather so much inspiration that you become buried under it. The answer is not always more motivation. Sometimes the next move is choosing the container, just one container. That part matters because too many opinions can become another hiding place. A clear container creates movement. When the brilliance becomes a podcast episode, there's a topic. When the brilliance becomes a book, there's an outline. When the brilliance becomes a workshop, there's a promise. When it becomes a coaching offer, there's a process. When it becomes a speech, there's a room. Structure does not kill creativity. Structure gives creativity legs. It moves the idea from I should to I started. This is a major part of the Unbox Your Brilliance. The gift can't serve from inside the box forever. You can admire the box, decorate the box, protect the box, pray over the box. And guess what? You still never open it. At some point, the brilliance needs to air. Now, the air don't need to be perfect. There may be no applause the first time that you open it. Not everyone is going to understand it, but guess what? You still got to air it. Because movement begins when the message receives a place to live. Now, Maribel's leadership does not begin with a title. It begins with action. That is a word for every woman who has been leading quietly and calling it, I'm just helping. You know what I'm talking about. I'm just helping. Leadership can look like telling the truth with care, bringing clarity to confusion, creating safety in hard conversations, naming pressure before it becomes collapse, helping a team see what they keep avoiding, turning lived wisdom into language another woman can use. Sometimes leadership walks in a room with a title. Other times it arrives with discernment, consistency, courage, and a willingness to pay attention. Maribel sees the cracks because she cares enough to look. That kind of care can become leadership when it moves with wisdom. And Cantu also shows the weight of being valued only for what a gift produces. Strength can become pressure when everyone expects you to carry everything. Beauty can become a cage when perfection is the only version people accept. Emotions can feel unsafe when every feeling gets judged before it gets understood. Vision can become isolation when people reject what they are not ready to hear. A quicker kind of gift can feel invisible when the system only celebrates what it can immediately use. That part deserves a pause, definitely. Let's that part deserves a pause. You can become known for being strong and still need support. I'm going to say that one again. You can become known for being strong and still need support. You can be the helper and still need help. You can carry wisdom and still need a safe place to be uncertain. Can lead and still need rest. Can answer questions and still need someone to ask, well, how am I doing? When people only value the function, the person starts disappearing behind the gift. And this is not healthy impact. Public impact requires more than visibility. It needs wholeness, boundaries, and truth. And you can serve without becoming empty. Leadership does not require disappearance. Visibility does not require performance. And confidence does not require pretending. Purpose does not require burnout. That is why these episodes belong around Black women, leadership, women in leadership, emotional wellness for women, and personal development for women. The goal is not to become more useful to everyone else while becoming less present with yourself. The goal is to move with clarity, courage, structure, and care. Yeah, yeah. Now, let's bring this directly to you if you're carrying a message. I may be speaking to an author, maybe speaking to a coach, speaker, a leader, someone that's servicing in ministry. You may be running a business, building a community, sit in a professional room. You may be retired, but you have wisdom that you've earned through real life. A message often starts privately. It begins as a journal entry after a hard season. It appears during a conversation when someone says, I never thought about it that way. It shows up through advice that you find yourself giving away repeatedly. It forms through the pain you've survived and the wisdom that you've gathered afterwards. It becomes clearer every time someone says, that helped me. And that's not random. A book idea may be more than a book idea. It could be a mirror, a method, a testimony, a warning, a framework, or a leadership statement. A podcast episode can become more than content. It can become a room where someone receives language for her own life. A keynote can become more than just a speech. It can become the spark that helps someone take action after years of postponing what she wants in her life. And the podcast that we're on right now, Mosaic Sparks, Unbox Your Brilliance, and the brag together, all of them belong. This podcast helps name the spark. The publishing gives the story structure. Speaking gives the message sound. Coaching helps the women move. Community gives her a place to grow. And all of that is an ecosystem. So when Maribel follows the cracks, She's not chasing attention. She's responding to what the house needs. That is the powerful distinction. Visibility rooted in service feels different. You don't need to chase noise when you are clear about your purpose. The stronger question becomes, what form is my brilliance asking for in this season? It could be a book, podcast episode, a workshop, a 3-minute video, a newsletter, a small group conversation, a speaking topic. Start with the form that can hold the message right now. Public impact does not always begin with a grand launch. Sometimes it starts with one honest outline, one recorded episode, one brave post, an invitation, a room, a page, a sentence finally spoken without shrinking. And so here's the spark question for today. What brilliance have I kept private because I never gave it a name? Take that in. Look at the way people experience you. Look at the conversations that find you, the lessons life have taught you. Take a look at the theme, the patterns that keep showing up in your work, in ministry, in business, in your family, or in different relationships that you have. Look at the story that keeps asking for language. Start naming it. A gift with no name becomes easy to ignore. A gift with language becomes easier to honor. An honored gift becomes easier to structure, and a structured gift becomes easier to share. And guess what? A shared gift becomes impact. So ask yourself, what do people trust me with? Which problem do I understand deeply? And where do I bring clarity? What messages keeps rising in me? And which room needs the truth I keep carrying privately? That is where your next spark may be waiting. So today's brag move is called the Private Brilliance Inventory. This is simple and practical, no overthinking, no 30-page workbook, no making it so complicated that the assignment needs an assistant. I want you to answer these 5 questions. First, what do people constantly come to me for? So think about whether it's advice, strategy, encouragement, prayer, planning, clarity, organization, truth, creativity. Just wanted to give you some of those words to keep your creative juice going. Second, which lesson have I earned that could help another woman move with her confidence? Because in life, as we go through different things in life, we've learned different lessons. Not to do that again. And we can only give that advice to someone else that may need it, right? Because your experience has value. Your lived wisdom counts. So if there's another woman that may need that, share that with her. The third one, what is it I explain well? Now, the answer can point towards teaching, speaking, writing, coaching, podcasting, or leadership. Fourth question, what issue keeps bothering me because I can see a better way? Yeah. What are the repeated frustrations? And they can reveal a message with purpose that you may think doesn't matter, but it does, because your purpose is attached to that. The fifth one, which container can hold this brilliance right now? Right now. Is it a book, a podcast episode, a workshop, a newsletter, a talk, a community conversation, or a guide? Pick one container for the season, one clear container and that will create focus for you. And after that, choose one action. Outline the episode, draft the page, record the voice memo, create the workshop title, write the post, send the pitch, open the document, make the invitation. You got to name it, own it, structure it, and finally move into it. Because your brilliance deserves language before it can fully serve. Language matters because the way you describe your gift shapes the way you carry it. Call it nothing and it becomes easy to overlook. Call it, I'm just helping, and the impact becomes smaller in your own mind. Call it wisdom, strategy, discernment, leadership, creativity, storytelling, teaching, confidence building, or wisdom, and suddenly it has shape. And shape creates movement, and movement creates impact. And Encanto reminds us that the gift overlooked by the room can still be central for restoration. Maribel's presence matters. Her attention, her courage, her questions, all of that matters. Her love for her family and the house matters. Now bring that mirror back to yourself. You noticing things matters. Your story, your voice, your experience, your leadership, your ability to see what needs attention matters. Your wisdom deserves a room. Your brilliance deserves more than storage. Confidence grows when you agree with the truth of what you carry. Language comes next. Structure gives it form. Movement sends it somewhere useful. Impact follows. And that is the path from private brilliance to public impact. And as we close, think about Maribel standing inside that house. Her gift didn't arrive with a ceremony everyone expected, yet her role becomes central to the family healing. That is the message. Evidence of purpose can appear in everyday patterns. People trust you with certain conversations. Ideas keep returning to you. Stories keep stirring. Rooms shift when you speak. Hard things become clearer when you explain them. Women feel seen after talking with you. A concern keeps pulling on your heart. That's not random. That is a spark. Mosaic Spark exists for women ready to notice the spark and move with it. This conversation is not about collecting cute quotes. It's about confidence with action, voice with direction, leadership with humanity, storytelling with purpose, visibility with purpose, with service, brilliance with movement. That is how you move from private brilliance to public impact. If this episode spoke to you, take one step today. Answer the spark question. What brilliance have I kept private because I never gave it a name? Complete the private brilliance inventory. Share this episode with a woman who keeps minimizing what she carries. Send it to a friend with a book idea. Send it to a leader who always sees the crack. Send it to a woman who encourages everyone else while questioning her own gift. So, subscribe to Mosaic Sparks with me, Lesley George, so you don't miss the next episode. This series is usually familiar. This series films to uncover grown women lessons about confidence, leadership, emotional wellness, personal growth, visibility, and purpose. And once again, thank you again to our listeners in Japan, Germany, Puerto Rico, West Palm Beach, Port St. Lucie, and Ashburn, Virginia. Your presence reminds us that brilliance travels. I'm Lesley George, and this has been Mosaic Sparks. Keep noticing the spark. Keep trusting your voice. Keep giving language to what you carry. Keep moving like your brilliance has somewhere meaningful to go. Why? Because it does. Until next time.